Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. It is your second video of the day. The first one we were talking about the news that Boehly is going to be spending this summer. So I thought there's no point waiting for tomorrow. There's no point waiting for the bloody grass to grow. We might as well start looking at some of the players that Chelsea are being linked with. We're going to talk Koulibaly. We're going to talk Christopher Nkunku, who has had an astronomically brilliant season for Red Bull Leipzig this season. We're also going to take a little look at Tchouameni, a man whose name has been absolutely scoured through the Chelsea reports over the last year and a half or so. And there's probably a couple of other players in this list that I've got going on here that we will get into in due course. But first of all, Kalidou Koulibaly. Now, there is some news coming out of Napoli that Napoli might be trying to absolutely milk this one, knowing that Chelsea are in a sense of desperation. It is a matter of we have to sign a top quality centre-back to replace Tony Rudiger, to replace Andreas Christensen, and to not have to rely on a 37, soon to turn 38 later this year, Thiago Silva. So yeah, Chelsea have got business to do. Koulibaly is a name who has been on the lips of Chelsea fans for a long time. He's been a player heavily linked with the club within Chelsea journalism, and I do think there has been interest in Koulibaly in the past from Chelsea. I think a couple of years ago, Koulibaly was looked at for Chelsea as the kind of Virgil van Dijk signing that Liverpool had. Koulibaly was seen to be a defender who could potentially be recognised and regarded on a similar level to that of Virgil van Dijk. I think Thiago Silva is that guy in the squad. Rudiger has been that kind of player in the squad, but Chelsea will need to bring in an experienced centre-back. Now, this is where I want to ask you guys in the comments what you think here, because Koulibaly is still a top quality player. He's had a good season once again for Napoli. I think he's got 1 year left on his deal. And the news coming out of Naples is that Napoli are going to be demanding a significantly high fee for Koulibaly, despite only having 1 year left. Because if it's Chelsea, then they know we're desperate. And it's exactly what happened last season when Sevilla realised that after selling Zuma, Chelsea really needed a centre-back. So, what happens? The little deal that we have going on, gentlemen's agreements for Jules Koundé, kind of just gets swept under the rug, and then we get absolutely rinsed, taken to the cleaners, and then it comes back smelling even more of BO, which is basically Chelsea not signing anybody. So, Koulibaly, 31 years old, we are going to be in desperate need of experience, losing Rudiger, losing Christensen, maybe Aspi, as we said in the previous video earlier today, but I do believe that Koulibaly just might be too expensive and Chelsea might just get absolutely mugged off here. So as much as Jules Koundé is not the tallest, Koulibaly is a lot taller. So Koulibaly-Koundé could be the perfect Christensen-Rudiger replacement as a duo. I just really hope with this one, they say in Napoli that they want a big fee. I hope it isn't so big that as we start to talk about the next players that Chelsea are linked with, we can't afford them because we do need to invest in other areas as well as centre-back too. So we move slightly further up the field. You guys know Koundé, Chelsea still heavily linked with him. Koundé, Koulibaly. Those are two centre-backs. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think Chelsea could get them both? We move into the CDM position. Now it is reported that Todd Boehly's first signing is going to be Monaco's central defensive midfielder Aurélien Tchouameni. Tchouameni, Declan Rice. It seems to be a bit of a fantasy, for myself at least, maybe you guys as Chelsea fans too, that Chelsea might be able to pull off both players, considering we do need to revolutionise this team and reinvigorate this team really from virtually every position. With Jorginho potentially leaving, with N'Golo Kante not being as prominent in terms of consistency within the squad these days. We talk a lot about needing centre-back reinforcements, but at least one, in my opinion, of a Tchouameni or a Declan Rice has to come through the door this summer for Chelsea. Now, Declan Rice, West Ham, 130 million. This is going to be one of those where if Todd Boehly wants to make a serious statement, get Chelsea fans on side, really start to build that seriousness with people looking at Chelsea still as big challengers who want to spend big money to make sure that we remain competitive with your Cities, with your Liverpools, with United, who are probably going to spend a hell of a lot of money too. Spurs have promised Conte some budget as well. We don't know if that's ever going to happen with Daniel Levy, but Tchouameni or Declan Rice, I do believe, is a minimum for Chelsea's investment in the midfield this summer. We've got Conor Gallagher coming back. People always say to me, yeah, we've got Gallagher, but I think we need somebody who is more out and out in that defensive kind of role. And I think either Tchouameni or a Declan Rice is far better suited to that. I think Conor Gallagher, next season at least, I'm sure he's going to be in the Chelsea first team. I think one of Tuchel's things that we'll probably experiment with at the beginning of next season is potential rotation with a Mason Mount in a similar area. If only one of those two, Tchouameni, Rices, are mentioned, if only one comes through the door, then there's definitely another spot in there too. To find Conor Gallagher's best position, I think Tuchel will experiment with him. I think Conor Gallagher is that good, but I do believe that we will spend on at least one CDM this summer. We move slightly further up the field to Christopher Nkunku. Now, I didn't really know much about this guy until the beginning of this season, and then all of a sudden, you start to get these little murmurs of noise of quality players. You remember when Timo Werner was known as this guy, and everyone's looking at Werner thinking, this guy's the real deal, and then he signed for Chelsea, and then all of a sudden, people just seem to sigh about Timo. As wonderful as he is as a character, as great as he can be on his day, it just didn't really materialise. And the reason I bring this up here, and it seems unfair to just shove Werner under the bus in that kind of context, but Bundesliga, translating to the Premier League, it isn't always a guarantee. Erling Haaland from City, I do think that is going to be a guarantee. He is a generational talent. Christopher Nkunku, on the other hand, I wouldn't say he's on the same page, but this season he has been bloody wonderful for RB Leipzig. I think it's 30 goals, 24 assists. He scores all different kinds of goals, can burst round the back of defenders, runs into the channels, does a lot of similar work to that of Timo Werner, but the finishing seems to me to be on a level slightly above. Now, bringing it back to what I said in the video earlier today, which if you want to consolidate all of the stuff that we're talking about today regarding Chelsea, go and give that video a watch. But within that video, I predicted that there could well be 3 attackers, in my opinion, who leave Chelsea this summer, not simply because Tuchel doesn't rate these guys, but potentially because some of these individuals might want to leave if they are not considered to be key players next season. Romelu Lukaku is one of those players who we can compare here. He's in very good form right now, so it kind of makes things a bit more difficult because we are seeing the real Lukaku that we wanted to see against Wolves and away at Leeds last night too. He was absolutely brilliant in both of those games. But the issue with Lukaku is, if he's not seen as a key player for next season under Tuchel, which is a conversation that will be had come the end of this season, then we're probably going to see Lukaku pushing for a move away before he gets a little bit too old, before the opportunity to once again get a big money move to a big European club might start to disappear if he fizzles out and still isn't a first team game by game next season. The way he's going at the moment, that's going to happen. But the reason I bring up Lukaku here is because Chelsea keep on buying strikers, and even though Lukaku is our top scorer this season, they are not delivering the level of goals and output that we desperately wanted as a result of bringing these players in. So, when you look at Nkunku's goal record, for me, I just cannot help but, yes, get excited about the player, but B, using a bit of rational logic based on the history we've had of strikers coming through the door, it not quite working out, there is a big part of me that just thinks, well, maybe this is another big risk. The reports are that it could be around 59 million euros, which is something a bit similar, just a bit more than what we spent on Timo Werner. I think it all depends on what kind of player leaves Chelsea this summer, and I think pretty much everybody in the front line, apart from a Mason Mount and a Kai Havertz, could potentially be open to leave, pushing for a leave, or wanted to be sold by Thomas Tuchel. So Christopher Nkunku is the final story of the day. Let me know what you think about this one. It's a weird one because Lukaku has been in much better form the past couple of games. If he scores a winner in an FA Cup final this weekend, I don't see him going anywhere. I think that would be the cement to keep him at Chelsea Football Club for the contract that we bought him in for, and next season he can hopefully kick on. Massive weekend this one. Liverpool in the FA Cup final, but it is the end of the season. We've got 2 more league games to go. Top 4's basically done. By the time you guys watch this, it might well be done, but we've also got to look forward to this summer because it is going to be a big one. If If you haven't checked out today's earlier video, please go and do so. 6 things we learned from the game against Leeds is also out earlier today. Thank you guys for watching. See you all later. Come on, you Blues.